Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Carly. I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This is where I get to talk about all of my current projects that I'm working on and all of the things that I'm passionate about in life. I believe there are quite a few new people to this channel, thanks to Amber from A Lovely Yarn podcast for mentioning me in her last episode. So thank you so much. That made my day and made me feel really special, and just really thankful for everybody who wanted to come check out the channel. And I appreciated all of the nice comments and all the likes and all of that. It's just really cool that some people are enjoying this. So thank you again, Amber. That made my week. And yeah, let's get started into today's episode. I have a couple of, or one finished object to share. Another, not a finished object, I guess it's one to show you, and then one almost done, and a WIP that I just started, and some acquisitions to go through, and then also some non-knitting related things that I have been working on this past week. So let's get into it. We will start with the first finished object, and I'm actually wearing them right now. They are these socks. So let me take them off. I just started them last episode. They are the top down sock DK weight vanilla sock pattern by Crazy Sock Lady, and I believe that is a free pattern. And this was my first pair of socks ever, so I was always really hesitant and nervous to start socks. They just looked so difficult to me, so I never did it. But and if you're feeling that way too about socks, I definitely recommend the DK weight vanilla sock pattern. I have started socks before, and I showed them in the last video, and they were like sock yarn fingering weight. And I just felt like to start with socks at that weight, it was a little bit more challenging. So yeah, I would definitely recommend the DK weight to start. So here they are. I was just using scrap leftover yarn for this, and it is from, I believe it's like All Created Equal or Things Created Equal. I can't quite remember, and I don't know the colorway, so sorry. But it is a hand-dyed yarn where they dye in Alberta. I've had the yarn for about a year, so it feels good to use up. What else about these? I don't know, I love them. They fit absolutely like perfect, and I'm obsessed with knitting socks now. And I've been wearing them all week because I love them. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I just followed to pattern, except I did a little bit of a shorter leg here, and then you just, of course, knit to your foot measurement, but absolutely loved them. I'm hooked on sock knitting now. And I got through those pretty quickly because they are DK weight, so it wasn't like too tedious or anything. And I think I did them over the weekend and had them done, which felt really good. And then of course I immediately had to cast on another pair, and this is from the same yarn company with some other leftover yarn I had. So here we go. Exact same DK weight vanilla from Crazy Sock Lady. I did the cuff in like a bluey green and the toe in a bluey green as well. The middle, or the foot part, is a stripey, and you can see there's obviously some color pooling in there. I don't really care about that if it's for a sock. It's like, I don't care that there's color pooling. It looks kind of cool. I do wish, like, this part of the yarn that's just like speckled, I think it's the most gorgeous thing ever, and I wish the entire skein of yarn was like that without these pieces. I'm basically just searching for yarn that's just like this now. but I think it's a really fun, cute sock. This one's done. I just have to weave in the ends, obviously. And for the other sock for this pair is here. And because I'm using scrap yarn for these socks, I didn't have quite enough for a whole set of the stripe or a whole set of the blue. So this one is reverse. The foot part and leg part of this sock is the cuff and toe of this sock, which I just changed the color down here, and I'm just beginning the toe decreases, so I'm very close to being done. But, oops, sorry, the needles keep hitting the table. Hopefully that's not annoying. But yeah, really cute, fun, bluey green variegated yarn. And I think these are just gonna be really fun to wear together. So yeah, you can say I'm hooked on sock knitting now. I feel confident in my vanilla sock knitting abilities. Vanilla only. I'm not quite there yet on the fancy socks. But yeah, I'm confident in my vanilla sock knitting abilities to be able to knit some socks for some gifts this year for birthdays and Christmas, even though it's ways away. But I'm already thinking ahead because last Christmas, I was just like on the 23rd at like midnight, I was just finishing things off. And I don't want it to be like that this year. So I just kind of want to slowly pick away at a few objects throughout the year for every member of my family and some friends. And that way it's not going to be a stressful thing, because I really love gift knitting. I get a lot of joy from it, and I know that people who receive it love it too. So I don't want to make it a stressful thing that I end up dreading. So that's kind of my way of getting around the stress of it all, is to be extremely well organized, planned, and thought out with my gift knitting this year. So these are the socks, and next episode I'll have that finished pair to show you all, and you can see how they look side by side. Oh, and I forgot to mention what I'm wearing is my Pressed Flowers shawl by Amy Christoffers. Okay, next is some WIPS. So this is a project that I've shown before actually, but with a different yarn. It was with the pink yarn here that I used for my socks. And then I ended up ripping it back because I've explained this in the last episode, but it was just way too small and I didn't have enough yarn to make a bigger size. So I ripped that back. I went out and bought enough DK weight yarn for the size medium of the Ripple Crop Top by Jessie Maed. And here it is so far. So not a whole lot done, I just started it, but I am doing size medium now. Last time I was trying to make an extra small work and it just wasn't gonna cut it. So now it's a lot bigger. I'm kind of didn't finish a row, but that's okay. And it's a 3x3 rib knit bottom up. And last time I knit it all the way up to like, I already separated for the V and was working like the left side of the top. And and at that, I like waited that. I tried to convince myself for so long that it was gonna work, but I feel so glad that I ripped it back. I got cute pink socks now instead. And I love this green color. It's gonna be a perfect summer top because it is 100% Pima cotton. It's by Cascade Yarns. It doesn't have a color name, but if you're interested, the color is, where is it? Gosh, where is this? Oh, color 3868. Here it is. I just got this at my local yarn store. And I got 2 skeins of this, and that should be enough for the medium size of this top. Once I finish the pair of socks here, this will be my next priority of things to finish. So hopefully next time I speak to you all, this will have a lot more progress done on it. It is a really enjoyable knit. You're just knitting in the round with ribbing, and I personally really enjoy knitting ribbing. So yeah, I'll keep you all up to date on this. I think this is a really pretty color. It's kind of just like a muted sage green, which is one of my all-time faves at the moment. My favorite color changes quite often. Another thing I want to show is a crocheted item that I finished close to a year ago now. And it's actually with all of the yarn I was just showing you. So anyways, here it is. It's a big granny square. So the socks, the blue socks, there it is. The multicolored socks right there, and the pink socks right here. So I originally got all of that yarn to make a big granny square poncho. But then I just got so bored with it. Like, I'm very impressed with everyone doing the like scrappy granny square stripes and granny square blanket, or the granny stripes blanket and then the granny square blankets, because it just, I don't know, I just lose steam on it pretty quickly. But this has been laying around, here it is, and I don't want it to go to waste. I actually have to block it because it's just kind of like twisting a bit. I don't want it to go to waste, so, and I've been using up all the yarn for it, obviously, in these projects. So I'm not going to be adding anymore. And I've just been trying to think what I could turn this into. And maybe some of you have some ideas I would love to hear. Or maybe you can give me some reassurance if you like one of my ideas. I was thinking I could turn it into a pillow. And kind of like have a sewn pillow, I guess, and then have this on the front. Since it's all holey, you'd want it on like a nice piece of fabric. So that is one item I was considering. Another thing was turning it into like a big project bag or a big tote bag, and same type of deal where you kind of just like sew and tack this onto a piece of fabric. I don't really know where I'm at with this. Yeah, I just thought it was too good to just not have a use for it, because I really think it's cute and pretty and I like the colors. Oh, another thing I was thinking was it'd be kind of cool framed also, because it's like a perfect square. So if I could find a square frame, it could look kind of cool up in like above my desk and where all my yarn is. So that was one option too. So I'm thinking pillow, bag, or frame it. I'm not sure about anything else. I thought if I could incorporate knitting around this, because like I mentioned in my last video, I'm just not into crochet at the moment. I don't have the motivation to do it, as I overdid it the last couple of years with it. So I don't want to add any more crochet around this. So I was thinking maybe I could knit around it, and I was thinking, could I turn it into a top? What could I do? Yeah, if anybody has any ideas, I'd love to hear them, or read them, I guess. I think that's the back with all the ends, but there it is again. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you have any ideas. And yeah, that's just been sitting in my box of stash yarn in that closet there for quite some time. So I recently gave away a whole big bag of yarn to my friend yesterday, and I found that in the bottom, and I was, thought it was time to pull it out. But it felt so good to give away that yarn, because it's just been sitting there a long time. I didn't have any use for it anymore, and now my stash yarn is all concealed in one little drawer next to my desk here. I can show a little video or go through it, I guess, a little bit of the yarns. Before we do that, I will get into, I got 2 new skeins of yarn that I would love to show you all. I got them just the other day at my local yarn shop, which is dangerously located about 10 minutes away from me. It's not good to be that close to a yarn shop. The first one here is from Lichen and Lace. This is hand dyed in Sackville, New Brunswick. It's a gorgeous terracotta clay color, and it is called Nutmeg, this colorway, if you're interested. It's just your typical 80-20 sock yarn, so 80% superwash, 20% nylon. I did originally get these for socks, and I was thinking maybe like the DRK everyday socks. I believe those are the ones that are ribbed all the way down, and I really like the look of those. Plus I would want some like, since my socks that I've been making and just made are quite like fun and playful and pastel-y, I kind of just wanted something a little more grown up, I guess. And this is one of my favorite colors of all time. So I thought these would be so cute in socks, but also, I was also thinking a Musselburgh hat. And I bought the pattern yesterday or the day before, and I'm already confused by just how to start it, because it's not something I've done before, not by like the pattern at all, just because it's an unfamiliar technique. But you know, I just need to sit down and take some time. But I think this would be a nice hat. I'm just putting it here to see the color. But yeah, I think this would look nice. I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards socks though. We'll see what comes of it. My next one is Ancient Art Yarns, sorry. And it's hand dyed in Canada, it says, but I believe it might be Edmonton. Maybe it's Calgary, I'm not sure. Anyways, here it is. It's called Passion 8. This is a heavy fingering, 80% superwash, 20% nylon. And gorgeous, like dove blues, some dusty blues, then forest greens and speckling in there, and even some browns. There you can see a bit of brown. It is so gorgeous. And oh, there's even some pinks, kind of. I don't know if you, it's probably not going to show up, but a little bit of like pink is there. I don't think it's showing up. Anyway, what I have in mind for this is a James and Watts shirt. I forget what it's called. I'll put it up on the screen. It might be like the ribbed lace raglan or the lace raglan, something like that. But it does call for fingering weight yarn. And I thought this would look cool. And it, you know, I love variegated speckled yarn. I just love all the different colors. I'm not one for, I mean, I do knit with them as I've shown before, but I'm not one for just like solids. I really like to play with different colors. I find it super exciting while knitting to just like get more colors in there, and to see how they knit up is just, it's like a fun surprise along the way, and it holds my attention more when I'm playing with more colors versus just the straight color. And I'm always like amazed and impressed with people that, you see a lot of knitters that do like knit mostly in, sorry, I'm not great at speaking today. Just bear with me, ignore it. Some knitters that do a lot of just like neutral tones and beiges and creams. And like, I'm so jealous of that because it looks so good on them. And to have a wardrobe that's super neutral and can go with so many things is like really appealing to me. But I cannot knit a whole garment in like a beige or something. I want to, and I'm going to, but it's hard for me because I just get bored with it easily. Anyways, speaking of color, that brings me to my next thing, and my love of color and speckles and all of that. This is a non-knitting related portion. It's actually about eco dyeing, And I've been playing with eco dyeing since like May, I guess, so I'm fairly new to it. But anyway, my mom has a flower farm, and I get all of her, she grows flowers from seed to produce dried flower bouquets and dried flower items like flower bars and cool things like that. And so I take all of the pieces that she can't use that like aren't nice enough for a bouquet or whatever, and I use them for eco dyeing onto fabric, and I've dyed yarn in the past as well with it. And this is also, I guess, related to knitting, because what I show you, I eventually want to put into dyeing skeins of yarn with all of these dried flowers, all from her flower farm, which is just about 20 minutes south of where I live. So yes, I take all of her scraps that she can't use, we organize them, separate them. I recently spent the other night tearing off all of these dried marigold petals and grinding them all up, and I made my own marigold powder dye. So here it is. It's a really fine powder, and these are all just marigold petals, and a little of this goes a long way. So yeah. It's really cool to work with. It is so powdery and fine though, like I wear a mask because it's so fine. But what I had was a cotton / linen blend of an old tablecloth that was unbleached and completely natural. So I cut it all up into rectangles, and so they could be like the same length and width of what you would use for a tea towel. And I've been dyeing them. So a few months back, I did process all of the fabric with mordant, so that you need to mordant your fiber, material, whatever, in order for the natural dye to adhere to your fiber. If you don't, a lot of the time it can just wash off, fade really quickly, and just not last very long. So I've made these two tea towels before, but I've never made them the way that I did the other night with the powder. Usually I would just sprinkle on dried petals, and I wouldn't turn them into a powder, or I would just submerge them in a dye bath of petals and whatnot. So I'll start with the two tea towels that I did with just simply sprinkling the powder with a spoon over the wet fabric. So again, these have been mordanted and all that, and so they were dry because I did that a while back. So I wet these again, and I put it over my counter, and I sprinkled it with the powder, and then you roll it up like a cinnamon bun, and I steamed it. And this is one of them. It's really cool because, as you can see, it's like a mirrored image down the middle here. I sprinkled, what did I do? I think I sprinkled all across, and then I folded it in half. Yeah, that's what I did. Sprinkled some more, and so that's why it's got this cool mirrored image. Now this is all marigold, and I've never gotten green from marigold before. I've only ever gotten yellow, but just look how amazing those speckles are. And that is why I want to start dyeing some more yarn with all of the natural dyes. Specifically, well, basically all of it will be from my mom's flower farm, and all of them will be from flowers. But the green that came from it was so surprising, surprising in the best way possible. Green, like I just said, is my favorite color at the moment. And for me, it's been tough to find a nice green natural dye. So yeah, that was fun. Here's another one. This one is so fun because it looks like a butterfly to me. Again, it was down the middle, like this looks like the head and antennas and then the wing, or a moth. But it got some cool green in there again. Heavier on the green on this one, I think. But look how pretty those speckles are. I could just see this if I'm a little lighter on the sprinkling on the yarn, the speckles would come out beautifully, I think. So all I have to do with these is kind of tidy up the edges, sew along the edge so the fraying stops, and then sew on my mom's flower farm badge. And then they're ready for being used as tea towels. And if you want to check out her flower farm, it's Floriculture Flower Farms. And we're online and on Instagram as well. And I can link it below. But yeah, she does everything herself, grows them all from seed. And yeah, it's really, really amazing. Here is one that's totally tie-dye. So this one was made differently than the other ones I just showed. This one I got wet with water, and then I basically ringed it up like this, folded it, put an elastic band around it, and then submerged it in a dye bath, which was just the hot water and some of the Marigold Powder. And then here we go, that's what we got, some cool tie-dye. The tie-dyes are, I think, my favorite. I would love to start buying just 100% like natural unbleached cotton shirts and then tie-dyeing myself with some natural dye. It'd just be so pretty and unique. Here's another tie-dye. This is the last one. We got green on this tie-dye. Like, how fun is that for a tea towel? I love these for tea towels. Like, the set that I have at my place is one that I made like this, and it's so nice because you don't care if they get stained, because like it just goes along with the pattern anyway, and it just adds to it. If anything, it looks really cool. And yeah, I never want to be worried about like staining a tea towel or like a kitchen towel, because that's what they're there for. So why not just like dye it with food waste or plant matter that you have, and then you don't have to worry about it. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that part of this episode today. It is a little bit different than what I normally talk about, but it is one of my passions, and I know that once I started this channel, it was something that I wanted to talk about eventually. And I have a little bit, but yeah, I'm glad I was able to show you that. Let's see. Ooh, I want to show you my stash yarn, all that's left. So this is just in a little tray next to my desk, and this is what I have left. Whoops. So it's just a basket like that. So there's not a whole lot in here, and I have plans for almost everything in here, which makes me feel so happy. I know a lot of people have been trying to de-stash lately, and I don't know, like for me, and then some people you'll see that are just really happy with having a big stash. I know personally for me, I get stressed out if I have too much, because I'm thinking I need to use this all up immediately. It's so weird, but I just feel like stressed that I have to finish it or use it up, or else I feel like I'm wasting it, even though like I know I'm going to use it in the future, which I know it doesn't make sense, but that's the way it is for me. So I'm really happy to have it down to this. I did just, add 2 more, but I've got plans for them. And another thing is, I, like most knitters, I'm sure, like buying yarn and searching for yarn is so fun. It's like a hobby in itself almost. And so I want to just like really enjoy that. Like if I have too much yarn around, I know I shouldn't be buying yarn, and it's not as enjoyable for me to buy it or search for it when I know I have a bunch that I have to use up. So just that activity of buying yarn becomes much more enjoyable for me when my stash is at a manageable size. Let's see what I can show. I have this cotton from Wool and the Gang. I believe I had an idea for this. I just can't remember now, but I also thought if I can't find anything, I'm just gonna maybe make some dishcloths for gifts or for myself, because 100% cotton. I have this left over, which is Wool and the Gang cotton. I'm gonna make a dishcloth out of this because there's not a whole lot there. This is my hand-dyed yarn that I was talking about, that's dyed all with flowers. Really cool. The black speckles, if you can see it, are either like dark purple or gladiolus flowers. I've got 2 knitting for olives in here, heavy merino. I was thinking of making a hat out of that. I got these 2 that I showed you last time that were from LA that my boyfriend picked up for me. I've got maybe hats, or I had James and Watts look at my holes I was thinking, but then I thought this is, why can't I think or speak today? But this is 100% merino wool, so I don't know if that's the best choice for that pattern, but we'll see. I've got this Malabrigo glitter, it's called Glitter. Superwash merino. I made a hat out of 1 skein of this before. I think I'm gonna make another hat for a gift for Christmas. I've made a hat out of 1 skein of this before. I might make another. It's a little rough though. It is the Georgian Bay Fiber Co., Parry Sound, Ontario. And it's the worsted, I don't know what the color is, but really pretty. I made a hat in this for my friend, and it had this pom-pom on top, which looks really cute together. What else can I show? Oh, this is 1 full skein I didn't use from my pressed flower shawl. And so this is DK weight. I've got, how many yards? 219 yards. So I haven't figured out what to do with this. I was kind of looking up like 1 skein projects for DK, seeing if there's any like tiny shawls or something. Because it is, I don't want to do a hat or anything because it's like alpaca and linen. So I'm not sure what to do with this one yet. I've got some leftover raffia from Wool and the Gang cinnamon dust. I made a crocheted little purse out of this for my friend for her birthday. I'm not sure how much I have left. I'll have to check, but it'd be fun to make like a little, maybe like a phone case or something. I don't know. And then the rest I've just got a couple of these, like 2 of these in beige and then 2 in yellow. This is the Rewind tape yarn by Lion Brand, and I use this mostly for crocheting baskets and bags and all of that. But yeah, that's my stash yarn, so I'm really pleased with that. I feel like it's very manageable for myself. Yes, there was one more thing I wanted to show because I haven't shown it in a while, and this is my, and I can't remember if there's any progress on it since I've last shown it. If there isn't, sorry. But this is my Calico quilt shawl, and I'm using this, or I'm knitting this rather, to use up all of my scrap yarn. So once I finished a DK weight object, I try and immediately put the yarn into this shawl and do a triangle. I haven't immediately been doing that after finishing it, but I've made some good progress. here it is. So this is an Advent pattern. So it's meant to do like each triangle a day for 24 days. So there's 24 triangles. And this is the bottom row. It's going to be a big triangle shawl. This is the last, or the very bottom, the widest row. I've got one more triangle to add after this, and then each row it's 2 less triangles. So this will be a nice big shawl to wear. I got this idea from Crazy Sock Lady. She mentioned it a couple times, especially throughout her, what do you call them? Vlogmas videos. She always has it around her chair or wearing it. And yeah, so I casted this on Christmas Day, I think. And yeah, here's my hand dyed with the flowers. I did a Sophie scarf with that. That same yarn I used for the socks. This is the Marigold yarn that I used for a hat for a Christmas present. This was a Sophie shawl. This was a hat that I did for Christmas. More of that yarn that I did for the sock I just showed. And then this is just unused yarn I've never used, but I'm gonna have enough after these triangles, and I might do another Sophie scarf or a little, what do you call them, scrunchie. Nice little scrunchie. I've always wanted a knitted one. So if any of you are still looking for like scrappy projects, I highly recommend the Calico quilt shawl. Again, you could have it done in 24 days if you like, or like me, just kind of once you're finished with some yarn, add the scraps and leftovers to your shawl. And it's a nice easy garter stitch. You just have to know how to like pick up stitches and decrease and increase, which are all very easy techniques to learn if you aren't familiar with them. Again, I cannot get my words out today. Sorry about that. But I really love this. I think it's gonna look really like cool and homemade in the best way possible. And I was planning on having it done like within 24 days when I cast it on. I'm like, no, no, just no. So I'm not going to. Obviously it's March, I didn't do that, but hopefully by the end of the year I'll have it done. And then I actually wouldn't mind using that same pattern for an advent calendar, just because it's like very doable to do a triangle a day. And it's not difficult. Like once you get the hang of when you have to decrease, increase, pick up rows, or pick up stitches, sorry, then you don't need to follow along on the pattern notes. So yeah, I think when I search for my advent next fall, I'll look for one that has 24 mini skeins, and we'll see how I'm feeling, but might put it to another separate Calico quilt shawl. Oh my, well thank you for listening to me ramble about all of this like nonsense. And yeah, again, thank you all for your comments and likes, and anyone subscribing, thank you so much. Again, thank you, Amber, for the mention in your last podcast. If you haven't checked out A Lovely Yarn podcast, it's really good. She's working on a lot of amazing projects, so do go and check her out. Trying to think. Yeah, I've just been watching a ton of podcasts myself lately. It keeps me so much company while I'm knitting, and I know a lot of you like to do that as well while working on your projects. Kind of gives you some nice company, and it's great motivation to feel like you're knitting along with someone too. I hope to have more progress on that ripple crop top for next time. I do want to cast on something new once I'm done these socks too, and maybe I'll cast this on with that James and Watts pattern. I don't know. There's so many things I want to cast on, and like, oh my god, I have so many ideas for spring and summer knits. I just want to cast them all on like immediately. but I need to slow down. Again, I just talked about how nice it was to like have a manageable stash now, and if I'm gonna go crazy with all of those patterns, I need to buy new yarn. So I gotta rein it in, work on what I have, focus on what I'm working on in the moment, and go from there. And one project, one make at a time, just so I don't get out of hand. But I'm really happy with the progress that I've been making the last few weeks with knitting. I kind of spoke about it before in my last video, but just felt a lot of motivation and a lot of creativity like flowing through my veins. So I'm glad to have taken advantage of it. I have a lot of my time on my hands recently, so I do fill a lot of that time with knitting and resting on the couch and all of that. So it's been a really nice thing to have, and just like being part of the knitting community with all of you and the making community, whatever. It's been really fun, and I hope you all feel the same too. I'll end it there before I just go off on a tangent. Thank you all if you watched this video. If you liked it, please do give me a like or subscribe if you haven't already. It helps a lot. I always enjoy reading your comments, so thank you for anyone that comments, and I will hopefully see you all next week. Right? Bye.